Good morning. It's Monday and it's Nancy Joy. And the title of today's reflections is Things Change. And as I mentioned in the written portion, I had lots of things change this week. Just quick recap. They weren't profoundly uncomfortable, mostly, but my Peru trip, the dates changed, the itinerary changed, working with Malku and what we had to do to be where we needed to be on election day in Machu Picchu, and coordinating everything changed the whole itinerary. The dollar devalued, that changed the pricing. Then Elizabeth Fortune has been scheduled for the longest time to come in June for solstice. That flipped around. She's now coming at equinox. And I've had a lot of requests to do a To Love It All workshop here in Iowa, so that's going to take the place of the solstice June time. So those are surface business things that changed. Appointments changed. Of course, many plans changed. And it probably the biggest change for me was coming to terms with my own changes inside myself and being comfortable with them. So as I do every week, toward the end of the week, I think, okay, help me download my reflections for Monday, all my guides, spirit, give me a clue. And it just came, it's change. It's about change, because this is such a frustrating, scary, exciting energy for everybody. We're here for the shift. What does that mean? That means change. And yet, we cling so tenaciously to what we think or feel we need, or keeps us safe. And I have lots of clients and people and myself somehow clinging to an edge. You know how uncomfortable it is to walk a tightrope? It takes a lot of energy. We're all exhausted now, aren't we? Because we're walking a tightrope between profound change and staying the way things are. And as much as we say we want the shift, we want the change, there's a part of our inner child that wants to stay the way it is, the way it feels safe. So change is something that I always love the saying, both things are true. You guys who know me have heard me say it all the time. Because when both things are true, that's really integration. And change creates such a polarity, doesn't it? Because just to say the word, yeah, we want it, or at the same moment, but yeah, we're afraid of it. And so it can be a real challenging thing. And that's what the quote says, if nothing changes, it stays the way it is. Well, in moments of happiness, we want things to stay the way they are. But if that moment of happiness stretched out and out for weeks and days and months, we would actually become a little bored. We're human beings. We're looking for the lessons. We're looking for the growth. We're looking for the charge. And that's why we have the highs and the lows, the ebbs and the flows. But I think this week it's important to take a look at change in your life. Take a look at how badly you want it in some areas, and then take an honest look at what you would have to do, or what's an action you can take to make that change, and then feel all the resistance you might have to making it. And when it comes to being finally ready to change, you're finally ready when the resistance is gone. And when you're in the resistance, or you're walking the tightrope, you're not going to jump one way or the other. You're going to stay in that place. And the longer you stay in that place, when you really in your heart and in your soul want to change, the longer you don't make the change, the more uncomfortable you become, the more restricted you become, the more the flow stops and everything stops. My favorite, if any of you have ever watched the old Seinfelds, my husband Mark was a Seinfeld nut, so we watched the reruns many times. But my favorite one is the one where George is griping that nothing ever changes, and he doesn't get women, and he doesn't have a job, and he lives with his parents. And Jerry says to him, well, if you really want things to change, then do everything the opposite of what you've ever done. Whatever you think you should do the opposite. So George started that, and he went up to a woman he saw sitting there and told her, instead of a line of baloney about himself, he said, oh, I'm George Costanza, I'm unemployed, I live with my parents, would you like to go out for dinner? And she says, yes, an honest man. She went out to dinner. Within a week, he had a job with the Yankees, whatever. So in other words, in order to make a change, we have to take a risk. We have to be willing to change the way we are to become who we know we can be. So that's this morning's reflections. Just a few updates. There are new dates, as I mentioned, to Peru. If you want to read the Heartlights updates or calendar below, if you receive the written portion, there's a To Love It All emotional healing workshop now here at El Shaddai in June for solstice. It's going to be very good. A lot of people have requested it, so give me a call, send me an email. Let's talk about it. Elizabeth Fortune is coming with Flower of Life and 8 Points of Light for fall equinox. And the Peru trip is now October 21st to November 6th to accommodate our mission expansion of the heart, Children of the Sun return. And a lot of it has to do with changing, allowing the mountains in Peru to help us change ourselves, expand our hearts, to be ready to hold the field there in Peru in that sacred space during the time of the U.S. elections. So if you're called to that, go on www.heartlights.net, find out more. So those, I'll be in Knoxville in a couple of weeks. That retreat is May 30th. So I hope to see some of you, and have a great Monday, have a great week, and we'll see you again next time. We'll see what all the changes have brought. Take care of who you are.